The New Testament church kept the Sabbath. Why don't you? Why do you call yourself a follower of Christ yet reject the very day he honored? The New Testament church kept the Sabbath. They didn't meet on Sunday out of custom or convenience. They gathered on the day God himself sanctified from creation. So why don't you? Acts 13:42-44 gives us the undeniable truth. Paul preached in the synagogue. When the Jews left, the Gentiles, those without any Jewish background, begged Paul to return and preach the same message again. Not the next day, not later that week. They asked to hear it on the next Sabbath. Why? Because even Gentiles knew the Sabbath had not changed. A week later, nearly the whole city came together, Jew and Gentile alike. They knew the Sabbath was the day appointed by God. Not one verse says they switched to Sunday. Not one apostle ever preached a Sunday commandment. Not even Christ gave such an instruction. Some claim the resurrection changed the Sabbath. But where in Scripture did Jesus say that? Did he rest on Sunday? Did he declare the first day holy? No. He died on Friday, rested in the tomb on the Sabbath, and rose on the first day. Even in death, he honored the Sabbath. The Sabbath commandment is not temporary. It's not Jewish. It's divine. It was written in stone by the very hand of God. Not on parchment, not in sand, but in stone, to signify permanence. Yet modern Christianity erases the fourth commandment with a theological eraser soaked in tradition. The Roman Church openly boasts of changing the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. Constantine signed it into law in AD 321, and Catholic councils enforced it later. They admit the Bible gives no authority to change God's day. Still, Sunday is exalted while the Sabbath is trampled. Jesus warned that in vain do people worship him, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. Sunday worship is a commandment of men. The Sabbath is a commandment of God. So why do you follow the crowd? Why do you honor Sunday, which has no holy blessing, and reject the seventh day, which God himself blessed and sanctified? Faithful believers throughout history have kept the Sabbath. Jesus did. The apostles did. Paul preached it to Gentiles. The book of Revelation says the saints in the end will be those who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. That includes the fourth commandment. You say you love Jesus, but ignore his day. You say you're under grace, but use that grace as a license to disobey. Grace doesn't erase God's law, it empowers us to obey it. True love keeps God's commandments. The Sabbath is not a burden, it's a gift, a blessing, a sign between God and his people. By rejecting it, you reject the rest, the sanctification and the authority of your Creator. So here is the challenge. If the New Testament church kept the Sabbath, if Jesus never abolished it, if God never changed it, then what is your excuse? Tradition? Habit? Denomination? None of those will matter when you stand before God. The seventh day is still holy, still blessed, still God's. And the question remains for you to answer. If the New Testament church kept the Sabbath, why don't you?